And with the absolute bombshell Epstein files that were released last week, here's what we learned. Ghislaine Maxwell trafficked minors to no one, and Epstein most definitely killed himself. The picture is really complete now. Case closed. Good evening and welcome to We Lied to You News, our top stories tonight. Zelensky recently visited Trump in the Oval Office and certainly dominated the situation. Tampon Tim is considering a 2028 presidential run, if we Democrats could be so lucky. And tonight we'll introduce a news segment on our show called It's Not Racist, It's a Democrat. All that and more tonight, but starting with Zelensky's visit to the White House. Zelensky showed up at the White House standing tall, about 5 feet to be exact, ready to dominate the peace negotiations. It started off with Trump making fun of the way he was dressed.
Pretty sure. He's all dressed up today.
Yet Zelensky, who's developed a tough guy reputation by begging for handouts from anybody, put Trump in his place by nodding and probably not being smart enough to understand what Trump was doing. During the peace talks, Zelensky indicated he doesn't have any interest in ending the Russia-Ukraine war and demanded the US continue to fund the endless war. But how would he get Trump to comply with that? He said the US would feel pain if it didn't. How'd that work out for him? Well, here's what happened next. Take a look.
Tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Worked out pretty good, if you ask me. Next, Trump and Vance erroneously thought that a guy who has received over $200 billion in handouts, embezzled over half of that, and is now in the White House demanding more money, was acting a little ungrateful. Take a look.
This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
But the powerful Zelensky then regained control of the situation with his expert negotiation tactics of insulting the vice president and then being put in his place by the president.
Please. You think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
With the Trump administration on the ropes in a clear act of desperation, J.D. Vance then said this.
Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems.
All lies. Zelensky enforcing conscripts to the front lines. That would basically mean kidnapping citizens and forcing them to go fight / definitely die on the front lines. And as you can see from this footage, that couldn't be further from the truth. And for further proof, take a look at this Ukrainian man the moment he was gladly enlisting in the Ukraine army. They're all happy to do it. Now, here's Zelensky sitting on his booster seat putting Trump in checkmate.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards.
Apparently, Trump was so humiliated by Zelensky's big win of getting no peace deal and no more funding from the US that he canceled lunch with the Ukrainian trust fund kid. And you can see here Zelensky leaving the White House. Now, we have reports that Trump had to pay for Zelensky's Uber because he couldn't do it for himself. Since the meeting, Zelensky has made big strides with his desires for peace by stating that the end of the war is far, far away. In other news, Republicans are shaking in their boots as Tampon Tim is considering a 2028 presidential run. As J.D. Vance may be the Republican frontrunner, last year's VP debate may be a preview of what's to come, which will probably be a bloodbath, as Tim will most likely be menstruating at the time. Let's check in with Tim Walz's voting base.
Day 61 of being a girl, and we are in fact...
I see good things ahead for Tim Walz. And in other news, a study concludes that 50% of liberal white women under 30 have a mental health issue. That doesn't seem true, right? White liberal women? Yep, definitely not a single mental health issue amongst them. Now, let's take a look at our news segment, That's Not Racist, That's a Democrat. Today featuring Democrat Congresswoman Pamela Jayapal.
Immigrants are us. Immigrants are us, and we all deserve respect and dignity. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it.
That's pretty good. May we remind you, that's not racist, that's a Democrat. That's it for today's news. We'll continue to stand for peace in the Ukraine by demanding that the war never ends, because that makes sense. And for the diet version of the Epstein files being released that were full of precisely zero information in them, we'd like to thank Reid Hoffman for all of his work. Good night.
Do you have all the energy you could ever want and you never feel tired? Yeah, neither does anybody else. And with that, did you know there's one phase of sleep that almost everyone fails to get enough of? And this one phase of sleep is responsible for most of your body's rejuvenation, repair, weight loss, hormones, and energy. I'm talking about deep sleep. And if you don't get enough of it, you'll probably struggle with a slow metabolism, cravings, premature aging, and even worse conditions. Why don't most people get enough of this number one most important phase of sleep? Well, a big reason is they're deficient in magnesium. 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium is vital for most of your body's functions, and it certainly plays a key role in regulating your body's sleep and stress regulation system. Those with magnesium deficiency typically have higher stress levels, which negatively impacts their sleep as well. Now, before you go out and buy just any magnesium, just know this. Most magnesium supplements on the market only have 1 or 2 forms of magnesium in it. But to properly regulate your sleep and your body's vital function, your body needs all 7 forms of essential magnesium, like you get with Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. Magnesium Breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium designed to calm your mind, help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. I consistently take it because the deep sleep benefits are noticeable. For an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/JP and use code AWAKEN for 10% off at checkout. And if you subscribe, not only will you get exclusive offers and amazing discounts, you'll also make sure that your monthly supply is guaranteed. That's bioptimizers.com/JP.